Welcome to another exciting episode of the JoshCast. My name is Joshua Snyder. My Twitter handle is @NerdyVirgin. My Instagram handle is @NerdyVirgin. So yes, I have strong opinions about Doctor Who. That's where we're at. I was reading about how they have discovered another tomb in ancient Egypt. Always discovering tombs. They keep all these tombs that have been undiscovered. A lot of dead people out there. But then again, I guess there's a lot of dead people everywhere. But did you hear me try to stifle a burp and fail? Good. But they discovered another tomb, and it was the tomb of a priest, and he was considered a purification priest, which sounds like, in an ideal world, it sounds like somebody who washed their hands a lot. It sounds kind of like an obsessive-compulsive priest, a priest walking and going, "Did you wash your hands after you finished eating? Thank you for doing that. Does anyone need hand sanitizer? I'm the purification priest." How long since we've Febrezed this? No, that's what am I thinking? Febreze? No. We need to douse this with everything here. We need to douse everything. What's the ancient Egyptian? I wonder what the ancient Egyptian symbol is for obsessive compulsive disorder. I feel like it's a picture of a crow just looking nervous. That's a difficult hieroglyphic to come up with, but I imagine they would be that. At any rate, they found in the tomb some sculptures of this purification priest. One of them I was looking at depicted a man who had a well-defined body, it almost looked like he had abs in the sculpture. And I feel like there's two possibilities here. Number one, this is a purification priest who did have abs. Number two, this was a purification priest who killed sculptors who didn't make flattering sculptures. It's one of those two. Or let me put it to you this way. He didn't kill the sculptors, he purified them. That is what probably happened if he was not a fan of their true-to-life sculpture of his pot belly. That would be my guess. I'm even afraid to make fun of the purification priest because I've seen the Mummy movies. He could be coming after me. Interesting thing in the Mummy movies, you never see the Jewish God deal with the mummy in the Mummy movies. You'd think he would. I just like to see a Mummy movie where the mummy's running around and suddenly there's a burning bush and you hear a voice going, "I thought we had this conversation way back. I thought we established who's who. No other gods before me, okay? Get back in the coffin. All right, knock it off, all right?" There was another statue that was interesting, and I don't know if this was the purification priest's wife or mother or concubine, but it was the priest. It was a sculpture of the priest, and then a woman holding the priest's shoulder and one of his arms, and it looked like an awkward Christmas photo that a family takes. It had all the awkwardness of that photo, and it's a pleasure to know that nothing changes in 5,000 years. That even back then you've got a purification priest. He's trying to appease the gods. He's about to sacrifice a goat or a person, one of the two. At that rate, they were both worth the same probably. And his mother walks in and goes, "Are you going to purify that person like that?" And he says, "Mom, we've talked about this. I'm trying to, I'm trying to sacrifice this goat in the correct way." And the mother says, "Listen, I know a thing or two about purifying, okay? I taught you everything you know about purifying." And the purification priest is saying, "Well, maybe I want to purify in my own way, okay? Maybe I want to discover it for myself instead of being spoon-fed. Maybe I want the joy of discovery. Have you thought about that? Has that occurred to you? Maybe you could just let me have this." And the mother says, listen, we can't screw around here. If you don't sacrifice that goat correctly, then the god with the head of a dog is going to come down and, mess up the carpet. That's what's going to happen. He's going to rub his butt on the carpet, and we don't need that, okay? If that happens, there's going to be a famine for 10 years. So we've got to be careful. You don't mess with the dog head god. And the purification priest says, "You mean Anubis?" And the mother says, "I was so sue me, I can't remember every single name of every single god. The dog god, that's how I call him." And the purification priest says, "We're in the hall of Anubis. You can't call him the dog head god in the hall of Anubis. He will hear you." And the mother says, "Well, yeah, I mean, we all know that the dog's hearing is way better than a human's hearing." And the priest says, "You're making it worse. He's going to hear you. Now, because of what you said, now I've got to sacrifice 2 goats. I mean, now it's going to be a 24. Now I got to purify for 24 hours. Now I don't have a weekend. You destroyed my weekend. Thank you, Mom. Thank you." Makes me wonder. The other thing too is that, I don't know, it seems like so much of Egyptian culture is fixated on the afterlife. But then again, I guess you could say that for most cultures, that there's a strong question about the afterlife. But Egyptian culture, they're building these pyramids and these massive death rituals and all this pomp and circumstance. And I can't help but wonder if there was a pharaoh that procrastinated on his death plans. And he gets a call from the purification priest, and the purification priest says, "Listen, I got bad news. You got a week to live." And the pharaoh says, "Oh no, I totally forgot about the whole pyramid thing. I need one of those, right? How long does it take to build a pyramid?" And the priest says, "Well, about 20 years." And the pharaoh says, All right, what about a cube? Can we throw that together?" The priest says, "I think a cube is actually harder. I think that's one more side than a pyramid." And the pharaoh's like, "Okay, can we use one of the other pyramids? Can we do like a ride share, like an Uber ride share thing?" And the purification priest says, "What do you know about Uber? This is anachronistic." And the pharaoh says, "Well, I am a living god, which means I have access to the future." And the purification priest says, "Well, what else do you know about the future?" And the pharaoh says, "Well, I know that Firefly gets canceled after one season, which is total BS. I know that." Okay, so here's the thing. We're at about 8 minutes, and I've read and I've been told that videos that are posted on YouTube that are longer than 10 minutes tend to do well than videos that are posted on YouTube that are shorter than 10 minutes. But the problem is I don't want the next 2 minutes to be just filler, just me talking without making a point. And yet at the same time, I should have been more prepared. I should have had something else to discuss. I was pretty heavy on the Pharaoh material, which I'm feeling good about. I'm feeling good about being heavy on the Pharaoh material. It's good to have that. It's always good to have that in your back pocket. You never know when you might need to throw in a few Pharaoh jokes. You run into the surprise bar mitzvah or something. I don't think a surprise bar mitzvah is a thing. I feel like, am I lifting that from a? Oh no, I was afraid I lifted from a Woody Allen joke, but I don't think I quite did. Other than the fact that we're both very sad people. And then again, he could be really happy. I don't know. I think with Sun Yi, he really found something, which I have not. Oh, reincarnation. That's what I wanted to talk about. Yes, reincarnation. The notion of reincarnation. Somebody was telling me that they were told that that the person that they were with, they were also with in a past life, and over each successive lifetime, they keep finding the same soul. They're two souls that keep meeting lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And I have not met anyone really, and I've been alone the vast majority of my life. So I feel like in my past life, I'm going to go ahead and say I was an amoeba, which makes sense. Because there are really days where I feel like, maybe all this, what I think is anxiety, is really just a desire to split into two of myself. which at this point is going to be really the only way that I propagate my own genome, because, relationship, that's a tough one. That involves, leaving the apartment. Who does that anymore? Well, that was hopefully this was fun. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. I'm going to try to do more keywords. So let me know if those keywords worked. Yes.